Hey everyone, Dennis K here with Belize Islands Real Estate. Hope you're doing well today. Today I'm going to answer a question from viewers. The question is, what type of real estate should I buy? What type of real estate? Well, there's all different types. You can buy a private island, you can buy a condo, single family home, piece of vacant land. There's all different types. But a better question is, how much can you spend? Not that I want to talk into something that's very expensive, but my dad's told me something years ago, and it stuck with me. And when I was growing up, I wanted something, whatever it is I wanted, whether it be to buy a car or maybe a boat or a house. I always asked him his opinion, and he always said, "Son," he said, "buy whatever you can afford." And I thought, you know what? That's interesting. And we should really look at Belize like this because the dream of coming down to Belize should not depend on what type of real estate you can afford. There's a lot of places that you can go in the world where you might not be able to afford the real estate, but you can certainly go there and live there and enjoy there without buying real estate. Belize just happens to offer some affordable real estate options for many of us so that maybe we can afford to buy something. But the question is, what should you buy? You should buy whatever you can afford and whatever makes you happy. Let me give you an example. When I first moved to Ambergris Key, I thought, wow, this is a fantastic place. We rented our first apartment. It wasn't on the ocean. In fact, it was a block off the ocean. And I thought, man, this is fantastic. This apartment is allowing us to live the dream on one of the best islands in the world, the number one island in the world to retire to, the number one island in the Caribbean. And we are able to live here because at that time, what we could afford was to rent a small apartment a block or two away from the ocean. When we moved to Paris, most of the apartments in Paris start at 1.5 to 1.8 million dollars. The restaurants, Michelin three-star restaurants, can cost five to $700 per person to eat at. If we would have had the mentality that, look, we can't go to Paris because we can't afford a $2 million apartment and we can't afford to eat $1,000 meals every night, well, then we wouldn't have went, right? But we chose to be in an area that was affordable for us, and we chose to eat at cafes and get crepes and croissants, and we were able to live an incredible life in Paris. Of course, we moved on from there now. But what I'm trying to say is when you're looking at real estate options in Belize, remember real estate is not the most important factor in the move. And I'm saying this as someone who is an investor and who sells real estate. It's how we make our living. But the number one thing is not what type of real estate should I be buying or what area should I'm looking at, but what kind of lifestyle do I want to live? How do I want to spend my time when I move to Belize? I've talked about this a lot before, but in Belize, it's a small country, right? But it's extremely diverse. So if I get an email from someone and they're looking at Corozal compared to Cayo, compared to Ambergris Key, those are three completely different areas. It's like telling someone, I want to move to the United States, but I'm looking at New York City, upstate New York, and let's see, the UP of Michigan, right? Three completely different areas, three completely different lifestyles. So when you come down to Belize, you might have an idea from watching videos or hearing others talk what areas they like to be in, but then maybe you need to see those areas yourself, right? Where am I going to feel comfortable living, and what am I going to be doing? How am I going to live my life in Belize? Because it's not just a matter of moving from the country you're in now to Belize, but what are you going to do? How are you going to occupy your time? They say life is short. Actually, life is really long because each and every day, if you're living somewhere you don't want to live or being forced to do something you don't want to do, whether it be a job or whatever it is, living in a cold area, you want to live in a warm area. So with Belize, it's really important to get to know yourself. Okay. Do I see myself living in the Corzo area? Right, where there's not a whole lot to do, to be real clear and really honest? Or do I see myself having a larger farm where I can plant some mango trees and orange trees and plantain and bananas? Maybe I can have some chickens and goats. If that's the case, do I see myself buying up maybe some 5 or 10 acres of property outside the Cayo district? It's sort of like doing like a homesteading, right? Building your own home and cultivating the ground and, sort of like living off the land. If that's not for you, maybe you're thinking, you know what? I'm more of the Caribbean island lifestyle. I like the sun, the water. I would love just to get up in the morning, drink my coffee, watching the sunrise, go out fishing, catch the fish, bring it back for lunch. Maybe have a few sundowners with some friends, meet up at some cool little beach bar, maybe Secret Beach, and watch the sunset. But I see myself driving around in the golf cart, just in flip flops, shorts, and t-shirts, getting rid of all the business suits and everything. And that's more my style, right? So now the question is, you want to be in those certain areas, whatever area it might be, doesn't matter to me. You got to figure this out for yourself. I can help. But then you got to say, okay, now, in order for me to live in some of these areas, what's the best thing for me to do? Is it to rent? Is it in my budget just to simply rent? Or is it in my budget to maybe invest in something for myself or for the income, or a combination of the both? And the reason I bring this up today is because the price point on Ambergris Key is all over the map. I mean, we have lots right now for sale in a beautiful area of Grand Belize Estates. They're only $29,900, so $30,000, and you can finance them with a 10-10-10 program. So 10% down, 10% interest for 10 years, right? That's about the basic. A lot of you have been picking up properties in other areas of the island, the northeast side, or maybe down south by the New La Serene project. All right, what is driving your purchase? Well, for most people, you want to be on Ambergris Key. That's the known. The lifestyle you want to live. Now it's just a matter of looking at the budget. Okay, how much money do I have now to invest? How much will I have in the future? For example, if there's going to be a sale of your current home or business or other properties, or maybe you're going to be accessing some retirement accounts, you look at all that, saying, okay, now with this money, what is the best decision for me at this time? Right? So should I be looking at vacant land in one of the many subdivisions on the island, or should I be looking at going into something maybe with a higher price point? Should I be looking at a 2 to 3 bedroom home in a gated community? Should I be looking at a condo at one of the new resorts going up, direct oceanfront? Should I be looking at a property that is boat access only right now? Because that kind of appeals to me. I kind of like being away from everyone and knowing that, I just take my little boat to my property. It's on the beach. I choose a property or area of the island where I want to live. So what I'm saying is, when you're looking at all these different websites that you're looking at, because I know you are, right? And that's good because you're doing your research. Keep in mind that some areas of Ambergris Key are more desirable for some people, less desirable for others. Some have are in what I would call the path of progress. That is, they have a reason to go up in value, others don't. But it all comes down to this. Like my dad told me, Dennis, how much can you afford to spend? And that's not really the big question. Is, what do you need to spend? Right. So for example, just because you can afford a $500,000 or $600,000 place doesn't mean you should put all of it into there, right? You can do a lot with that money in Belize, right? And I've given this example before. You can invest in mortgages or notes, and this is what banks do, by the way. Banks don't own homes. Banks invest in mortgages, right? They hold your note to the house. So you can invest in mortgages, in notes, with a portion of your money, and with that income that you're bringing in now from the mortgages, then you can use that to go and build your own private home, or your own condo complex, or your own fourplex or sixplex, or your own Airbnb, whatever it is. But there's a lot of things that we can do, rather than saying, okay, let's take this chunk of money, whatever chunk of money that is for you, whether it's 30,000, 300,000, or 3 million. We have this pool of money. Now, what is the best thing to do with this pool in terms of return on investment, financial investment, return on lifestyle, ROL, and just return on, this makes me feel good, right? Because at the end of the day, you're buying property because it makes you feel good. You get a certain thrill out of that. Either you have the thrill of looking forward to using that property in the future yourself, with you and your family and loved ones, and making memories, or you're investing in property because you can foresee in the future that, what, this is going to be a financial investment for us. And when I go to sell this property, here's how much I'm calculating my return on is going to be for this property. And then with that money, I'm going to be able to do this over here, right? So there's all these different moving parts. So the question is, what should I buy in Belize? I don't know what you should buy. And that's why I suggest we get on a Zoom call together. Tell me more about yourself. What are your ages? I ask that because I ask you, how much longer do you have to work? Or do you see yourself retiring in the next 5, 10, 15 years? How much money do you have to work with now? If you only have, let's say you only have $1,500 right now in the bank, and that's what you have allocated toward your purchase in Belize. Now you might be getting a stimulus check soon. All right, so that's another 1,400. That's what, 2,900 bucks. That's 10% of one of the lots I have for sale in the Woodlands for 29.9. So with that money, you can invest in your first property in Belize, right? It's pretty simple, not complicated, right? So yeah, let me know if you want to jump on a Zoom call with me, and if you do, it's pretty easy. I'll include my buy me a coffee link below, and let's talk more about this because I'm always a firm believer that you shouldn't spend all the money you have just because you have it or just because you've allocated it. We can get creative. We can present a couple different options, a couple different scenarios, and this is where it gets exciting because we're able to help you to realize your dreams, not just realize what what you think they are, but also maybe to go a step further and see how you can maybe do something that you haven't even thought of before, right? So thanks a lot for watching today. I appreciate it. If you found this helpful, or if you want to learn more, hit the subscribe button. Hit me up on the Buy Me Coffee link below, and let's schedule your own one-on-one Zoom call this week. All right, take care, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.